Welcome, reading one. I thought we were going to do a smudge for the whole group, but maybe it's going to be individualized. I'm using lavender sticks, okay? So I'm getting lavender would be really helpful to you guys in your healing practice. Make sure it's real lavender. This is a true story. I literally did not like lavender for years because I thought the lavender that I was smelling was real. Come to find out, it was synthetic. So now that I've worked with real lavender plants, organically grown in good soil, and I've worked with real lavender essential oil that is processed in the most spiritual, loving way, it's so different. Invest the money, invest the time in researching it and finding out who has it. And just because you're local, like, some people are like, oh, I get it at Whole Foods. It's like, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Still research the company. Seriously. A lot of these bigger companies, I just don't trust things the way I used to. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't either. I'm just telling you from personal experiences and working with big companies and things like that. I don't know how much I trust things. So anyway, do the research. Totally worth it. Okay, so when I looked down, it was 131, which is also, it was 1 semicolon 31. So it could be 1 for new beginnings. Could be 31 in age. It could be the mirror of 13, the divine feminine. Oh, when I looked down, it was 49 seconds, which is also the number 13. So I'm getting the divine feminine there. Okay, so right out the gate, I'm hearing that. So it's what we need to look at and what we're going to reflect on and what the reflect and release energy of this reading. I'm going to put this over here. I feel like it wants to go there. Okay. Um, is from the past deck right away, I'm just getting feminine. There's something going on with the divine feminine. So let's find out, Spirit, what's going on in reading one. We're working with the reflect and release energy. In this Mercury retrograde energy, we're at the last week. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about at the group one, and I forgot. We're in the last week of Mercury retrograde. Whenever you watch this, it's timeless, but in real time, we are in the last week. And the last week is good because we're coming out of it, but it's also like people who don't understand certain things, energy, whatever's happening, like all these shootings. I'm sorry if this is sensitive for you, but I'm being drawn to say this. I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw something yesterday that said there have been 199 mass shootings since the beginning of the year. And in real time, it's May 8th, 2023 in the United States and I was like, there's no way that's true. And so I researched it, and anything that's a mass is any of 4 deaths or more. There's some crazy shit happening on this planet right now. And it's all meant to happen for a reason. It's going to get to a point where there are going to be more people who don't want guns than people who do. And I don't want to take guns away from people because I understand that that is like, protection and blah, blah, blah. And this is the world we live in. But I'm getting this. I haven't even turned over your card yet. I have no idea why they're having me share this with you. But I get this feeling that maybe there's something going on there with you, something from the past. I'm getting the chills. So let's look at, oh, here we go. So this is what's happening. It's food and hunger. So either in this life and or a past life, you literally starved to death. Sadly, I actually see an image of one of you who I'm literally like watching you like whittle away so that your children can eat. And the interesting thing is, it's on the surface, it's not like, you were scary skin and bones. It was just that, you know, I feel like for some of you, you would eat like bark or like things like just to like put something in your stomach, and I think it ended up killing you. Um, so there's this weird tie to that. It could even be in this life, you've never had to want for anything. You've always had money because you starved in another life, but you're starving and you have the hunger for something you're not doing. Meaning, like, yeah, maybe you have money and you're rich because, you know, you work at a job or whatever. But I'm getting like, when I seen this now, like what I'm seeing like the Hunger Games. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you feel like you're in the fucking Hunger Games. And Spirit's saying, no, no, no. Especially when this beautiful, rare hawk feather wanted to come into your reading. And you are as rare as this feather. And I say that it's a rare hawk feather because it is from Hawaii, and it is the only hawk that lives on the island. On the islands, it's the only hawk. There's no other hawk. And so, you know, I feel like this is Spirit saying to you, you are as rare and special as that feather in front of you. You are as beautiful and magical as you think you are. But, you know, I feel like you just keep taking jobs or situations, or like it's everything's like okay. And I feel like you're in a massive, massive comfort zone, and you've been in this comfort zone for way too long. I'm also getting the vibe for some of you that you were royalty in another life. And most of your lives, I don't think you've ever had to worry about food, hunger, shelter. These were not viable to you. You didn't understand that. You had plenty. You had bread, there was water in that cup. You know, you were good. You were good. Like you were doing well. You were flourishing, right? Like you were flourishing. Your life was good. Like I almost feel like right there by itself, it's just its own little reading. How pretty is that? I want to pull this back a little bit because it just looks so pretty. You know, it's like I feel like, you know, you're struggling because you're feeling dull like that. There's nothing wrong with that cover. It's pretty. I love the color, that navy blue, that says, you know, Enchanted Spell Oracle. But if you turn it a little bit and look at it in the light, it's like, what? Oh, okay, right? That's how I feel like you guys are. And you have so much to give. This was a unicorn at one point. So I brought it in here because I felt like somebody really needed it. It's also rose quartz. So I'm just hearing like the self-love. There's self-love issues that are happening, self-loathing issues that are happening. Also, do you see like down here? I don't know if you guys come down to the lower left. Do you see right here? It almost looks like a heart shape. So I feel like Spirit is trying to tell you, you are so divinely supported. You have got to move forward. Like you cannot stay in the past anymore. You cannot stay in that life. You cannot stay in that world. You cannot stay at that job, in that relationship, whatever it is. I didn't know who this was going to be for or who I was going to talk to about this, but right before I started the readings today, my two dads came through, my biological father and my stepfather. They were best friends. That's a story in itself. So you can just imagine. My parents got divorced when I was 12. And yeah, a lot of fuckery was about going around in my family and watching my parents. And, you know, looking back on it, my parents were young. They were like in their 30s. And now that I'm 51, I can look back on that and be like, oh my gosh, you know, like I remember that. I remember that energy. I remember what that feels like. And I can look at my parents and realize that they're just people. And they're not perfect. And love isn't perfect. But my biological father went first. And my stepfather, the last time I saw him was like one of the most magical times we've ever had together. And it was just a really special night. And I was really drawn to that whole night, it was a wedding. And I was drawn to take pictures and video. And I took so much that it was like literally annoying. Like my one aunt was like, well, you're so weird. Why are you taking so many pictures and video? And I'm like, because I don't remember everything. And she's like, you can't just remember your memories or whatever. And like, she kind of gave me shit. And it's what she didn't understand. And what I knew was I had been home the year before with my family for another wedding. And at that wedding, I was really sick. I was in really bad shape. And just watching the way my family behaved around me was just really vile and disgusting. And, I know we had our differences and things, but I expected more. I expected more from them. I really, really thought that it was going to be different. And then when I realized how messed up it really was, I was like, I'm like, this isn't healthy for me. So when I got home, I, you know, at the time I was living in Oregon, I think. So, no, I was living in Washington. I just moved to Washington actually. I'd only been in Washington like 6 months, and I hadn't been home for years since my biological father, passed away. And I I just started to notice just how different everything and everyone was because I had changed, because I had stepped into my path as a light worker, and they expected a different version of me. And no matter how many times I kept trying to show them who I was, they didn't want to accept it. So I wasn't going to go home for the second wedding. I was going to find some way to get out of it. But I not only did I want to go because I love that family member so much. Like, they were very special to me. Both family members were incredibly special to me on different levels for different reasons. But it was really cool because I got to have this experience where I was not well and I was frail, and I got to see the way they treated me. I was really, really sick with pancreatitis. I was like at 88 pounds, at like, almost 5'3", and at the brink of death. And one wedding was in August, the following wedding was in October. And from that time, I healed myself and I worked really hard at it. And so by the time I went to the second wedding, I was stronger. And I was stronger in my practice. I was stronger. I was really waking up to my witch even more. I was feeling really powerful. 1210 and 1211 are your angel numbers. And 1213, haha, that's my birthday. How funny. But this isn't about me, and I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm just trying to explain to you guys that I had to go through a process of it, through different time periods. I mean, what is it, August to, so that's what, like 13 months or something. It probably is about 13 months, 12 or 13 months, or no, it probably was 13 or 14 months, uh, that I was at one place, and then I changed dramatically. By the second wedding, I was stronger, like both physically, mentally, like, it was just interesting. And they picked on me more. It was almost like, oh, I had one aunt who told me I was faking it. Literally told me like I was faking it. I was like, yeah, I'm starving myself down to 88 pounds. Like literally, like some of my family members thought that I did that for attention, to take away from like the brides and things like that. I'm like, oh my God. Like, the irony is no, my body was breaking down because I had to deal with all of them. And by the time the second wedding came around, I took so many pictures and video because I wanted to enjoy every minute of it with my family, with love in my heart. And I danced and we had fun and we laughed and we were silly and everything. I just went with the flow of the energy of the whole entire time that we were together. And then when I left and I had time to think about it, I knew with every fiber of my being I had to stop talking to my family. I didn't know if it was going to be forever, but I knew that I was taking those pictures and those videos so that I would have it for me in case I never saw them again. And then there came a time where Spirit wanted me to go through those pictures and those videos and delete them. And I did. And it was fucking hard. And I miss them every day. And I was born into a big family, and both of my parents came from big families. To me, I feel like 3 siblings or more, that's a pretty big family, And so I was used to being treated a certain way, being talked to a certain way. I had a lot of scarcity issues too because of my parents. My dad was in the middle of 8. My mom was the oldest of 6. My father would put me on a timer if I didn't eat. I know for a fact that's why I have issues with food. All of my all of my eating disorders are from my parents and the way I was raised. And I had to look back on it, and I forgive them, and I forgive all of those things that happened to me. But I had to go through them, and I had to release them. And I pray every day that my family will come back into my life. But if they don't, I know that I did the best that I could with what I had each time I was with them. Because we're always, always in each of us, in each of our lives, growing, acting, responding from our level of consciousness in that moment. And if we're open to it, our level of consciousness will grow and expand. But if we're not, it'll stay the same. So every time I would go home to visit, whether I've lived in 5 different states, and one is my home state, right? So 4 different states I've lived in. And every time I would go home, I was different because I had a different experience. I lived in different states, in different places. I got to know different people, different cultures. And it seemed the more I knew, the more I grew, the more they would resent me or want to tear me down. It was so bizarre. I didn't understand it. Yet my other, like my friends, my partners, people that I would meet, their extended people would be like, wow, you're so amazing. Your life is so interesting. My family didn't want to know shit about my life. They didn't care about my life. They made fun of me. They don't look at me like the way you guys look at me. They don't see me the way you guys see me, even though almost every single one of them are as gifted or more gifted than I am. But listen, I'm sharing my story with you very personally through this because obviously you chose this pile or this reading because something in it is resonating with you. You know you have to leave behind certain people. You know it. If you feel like shit, if you feel drained, if you feel anything negative when you leave people, those are not your people. If it's up and down, sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're not, still not your people. You want to know why? Because they're not dealing with their shit. And it is not your job to be their human battering ram for the shit they're not dealing with, healing, fixing. Some things in us are so far broken. Some people believe they cannot be fixed. And I'm telling you, I've been molested. I've been raped. I've had more things happen to me than I care to, But I've also been saved. One time I was partying in Amsterdam and my friend was so concerned about me going off by myself. She was so concerned about me. And I was like, dude, I'm going to be fine. Trust me. I'm like, I don't know what it is, man, but I'm like, I got angels looking out for me. And this is before I even but I knew I had a charisma and I knew I had something about me that things just always seemed to kind of work out for me. Now, shit happened to me. Don't get me wrong. Shit has happened to me. Bad things have happened to me. I just said that, right? But also on the flip side, when I was in Amsterdam, I met these people. They seemed really cool. We were hanging out in this pub. We were having a great experience, having great conversations. And then it was like these other people walked in that they were their friends. And I felt this like shade come in. I felt this shadow, this kind of dark energy. They're like, oh, let's go to this club. Let's blah, blah, blah. So I decided to go with them. And I won't get in anyone's cars. I'm like, I'll walk there. I'll take a cab. And the woman who was bartending was like, I'll walk with you. She's like, I actually, kind of feel like walking. And she'd put on her comfortable shoes because she was wearing, high heel boots behind the bar and stuff. And she was Dutch. And so we started walking together and I was like, man, you get to live here. Like, and I'm going down these old, like windy roads and, it's like these cobblestone streets, these buildings that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, just like this cool thing. I'm drunk off my ass. I'm stoned because I was, in a cannabis bar and I was like drinking wine and partying it up. And as I'm having this moment with her, I just kind of got this vibe that she was a good person, but like there was something she wanted to tell me. And by the time we got to the bar and everything, she's like, why don't you check your coat and your bag and everything? And then, we'll get drinks and we'll meet you over there. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm like, I think I'm tired. Because I'd been going all day with my friend. And then we went out for like a 4-hour dinner. We dined, like in this really nice place. And I was like, no, I'd been drinking and smoking weed all day. I was like, I'm pretty fucked up. This was like, I just want to go dance in a nightclub in Amsterdam. That was it. And so I said, no, it's just like everything told me to keep my purse, keep my coat on, and get my own drink. And they were like trying so hard to fucking get me to drink. So I get my own drink. We go to sit down and they're like, take your coat off, like relax. Well, it's okay. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm good. It was just like, it was just too much, you know? And then the one guy's like, why don't you come, you know, dance with us? And I was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm going to bring my drink. And he's like, you don't have to bring your drink. Don't worry. Long story short, we're dancing, we're having a good time. I have my drink, he spills it. The other guy tries to bring me another drink, and I'm like, do I look fucking stupid to you? I'm like, I guess I must look stupid to you. And I was like, and this is really gross if you do this. And then I found out later that Amsterdam at that time, I don't know about now, but at that time, like 20 years ago, was the number one human trafficking place in the world. You know, but I listened to my gut, I listened to my hunches, because something from a past life told me there were people who were going to steal from me, that were going to make me, you know, go hungry, or they were going to hurt me in some way. Something was going to happen. There's one thing of having trust issues, there's another of just not listening to your intuition and listening to that inner guidance. So, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is that during this whole thing, something pinged for you. Somewhere in your story, somewhere in my story, your story picked up too. Something happened. Something, you know, and it's time to let it go. It's time to leave it in the past. It could even be that for you, it's something that you were harassed. You were something, you know, so many things happen. I saw something recently about this young woman who had a pretty ideal, perfect existence, right? For and all intents and purposes of what we would think of as like a perfect, you know, they have money, she's beautiful, she's, you know, white, blonde, blue-eyed American girl, of all this fucking programming of like what makes someone, you know, the ideal, right? Thank you, Hitler. You know what I mean? And that kind of shit, right? Thank you to the Trumps and the Hitlers of the world, right? It's like, that shit is real. However, you doesn't matter if what you identify with. You are a priestess. You are a cup. This is like, think of this as like the Ace of Cups. This is a new beginning for you. You need to leave this in the past and just look at that as, that looks like a yummy cup of coffee and a piece of fresh bread that just came from my oven. And look at that cool little mug I made in my pottery class for myself, right? Like, that's the way they want you to start looking at the past. And you know, the thing is, even though I miss my family and friends and I miss certain things, I do not miss being made fun of. I do not miss being mocked. I do not miss being the butt of the joke. I do not miss that. Oh God, you're being so sensitive. We all fucking make fun of each other. Blah, blah, blah. That's what family does. I'm like, you know what? No, it doesn't. Because my soul family, we may tease each other on certain things if we have a breakthrough moment, but we also have enough, you know, of our ego edged out where we can be like, oh, dude, yeah, snap, look at that. Oh, wow, that was a powerful lesson, man. I fucked up, you know, right? Not you fucked up. Now I hope you take that as a powerful lesson. When I looked down, I was 23, 31, then 32, 33. You know what I mean? So it's all in the way you look at it. It's how you receive it, right? It's how you look at the world. We're going to go into this enchanted spell oracle. Sorry, unicorn energy. But yeah, I mean, this is powerful. I don't, like I said, I don't normally go this in depth in my stories unless it's like for the tribe or something, like when I'm sharing, you know, like a personal reading basically. And I feel like this kind of is for you guys. Interesting how this card, the food and hunger. Now I want to take this out a little bit. Hold on. I feel as if it wants to like go over here. But like I said, with no malice, no, right? Like, you're not seeing it as food and hunger. Ooh, for some of you, you're having a hard time with this. It's almost like, okay, so what I'm hearing from Spirit is, have you ever heard that term, you got to give up the ghost? That's what I feel like this is. You got to give up the ghost. You got to give it up. And for some of you, There are food banks everywhere. If you have means to watch this video, most likely you have means to a food bank of some kind. Even if you live in a small town and there's a church, you can go there. Even if you don't belong to the church, most churches, if you're like, I'm starving, my family's starving, I need help, blah, 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 they will feed you. You will never starve. And if you starved in a past life, I'm so sorry. You need to make peace with that, because you are not starving in this life. This is, so that was your reflect and release. I feel like this is almost like what you have to look forward to, if that makes sense. Okay. So, oh, wishes. Oh, wishes. And I heard, yes, wishes come true. They do come true. But again, I feel like for some of you, it's because and here's jade, pyrite. We're going to put money things around here because there's a definitely a form of lack. And let's put a clear quartz under that too, so it'll amplify this money for you. So that you see that spirit is open and ready to provide you with all of your wishes. Look at, they're chill, they're having a drink, their wings are they're relaxed, their body is open, right? All of their chakras are clear and clean and balanced and open. There's just a nice form of balance around here. Also, I'm seeing a little city up here. And I feel like for some of you, especially, oh my gosh, and you know who you are, but recently somebody told me they visited somewhere and they really loved it. They're thinking about moving there and they're going there again. So if this is your story, you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, this is, it may not look like this city, right? But I'm feeling like yes, yes, yes. And this is a big yes for all of you. Wishes come true. Once you get out of this mentality that you deserve this, or you're supposed to be there, or that's all you deserve. Once you get out of that mindset, everything will fall into place. And let me tell you from personal experience. Oh, this was in the book. Patience is a virtue and it does pay off. Patience does pay. So in the interim, while we're working with patients, also, I cannot deny the fact that right in front of me are dates, April 15th through May 12th. This was stuck in the book. Sometimes, Spirit has me do it for a short. Sometimes it's for a reading. Maybe it'll be for both. But also look at the dragon. And it's like a sea dragon. Even though yeah, like I don't see wings on it. It feels like a sea dragon or like a sea serpent. Before I started this, when I was doing the mass reading for all of us, I saw a snake. So I feel like for some of you, you are about to shed your skin and also and start a new life because you have been patient. You've been so patient, and Spirit wants you to know that they see that. And actually, I'm going to cover the whole word because you don't need to be patient anymore. Something really magical is going to happen for you guys. Since we are already in it, I'm going to say today is May 8th. By May 12th, some miracle, something's going to happen. You're either going to have an aha moment or someone's going to come into your life, and it's going to happen, quite by accident. Maybe you'll be on social media commenting on someone's page and you're like, oh, I'll just put this out there. I love Glastonbury. I just visited. It was so awesome. And they're like, oh my gosh, you should come live here. And they're like, oh, I've been thinking about it. They're like, literally, my roommate is moving out next month. Can you move here? It's going to be something like that, you guys. Or it's going to be like something's just going to fall into your lap, a job or a situation, or, some financial, something's going to happen where financially everything's going to fall into place. All of your wishes are going to come true. And you're going to find this village, city, whatever it means to you. Also, I can't help but see the palm trees here. For some of you, it's definitely tropical. You've always wanted to live in a warm climate, and Spirit's like, why don't you live in a warm climate? You don't live in a warm climate because of where you are. You're either afraid to get out of a situation that you're already in, squash that fear. It doesn't belong to you. Or it could be also that, again, like you've been saving, but some good news is going to come through. If you watch this reading after May 12th, and also it could have come through already for some of you on April 15th, because obviously it's during this time, or it could also stand for birthday. So if your birthday is somewhere between April 15th to May 12th, it's like they're trying to give you a wink, wink, like, yes, this is your message. Also, they want you to work with the willow, which is about patience. the willow tree. Maybe you love willow trees, maybe you're really drawn to them. But think of a willow and how like soft and flowy they are in the breeze. Like I'm kind of hearing that from spirit. You know, the theme of these readings was the flow of let go. And I feel like, you know, it's just time to really let go and let God, Goddess, whatever you believe in. Also, see how the arrow is pointing up to the sky. I'm hearing you must believe and trust spirit. Work with your chakras, your crown chakra, your star chakra, your connection to the divine. You know, maybe every day for the next, however, maybe until May 12th, even, you know, do some type of meditation, connecting with spirit and connecting with as above, so below, and all the energies and entities in between that are aligned with them, right? North, south, east, west, you know, as above in the stars in the universe and the earth. So when we're working with the archangels, Sandalphon is of the earth, Metatron is of the stars, and north is Uriel, earth, grounding, east is air, healing, Raphael, south is Michael, which is also swords, which was on the cover of the book, which is air signs. Even though he's fire, right? But so Michael is, sorry, south, fire, protection. And then last but never least is our beloved Gabriel of the west, water, of flow and communication. Okay, so that's where we are right now. You're in reflect and release energy. It's time to let go of all of that stuff. And, you know, I didn't intend on quote unquote testing my family, 31, 33. That's not what that was about. I knew that there was some type of thing that was going on in there. But I feel like for some of you, maybe you've been doing like little mini things like that with your family or friends or loved ones or a boss where you're just like, I can't stay here. I can candy coat this, you know, whatever. But, and I'm getting, yeah, you know what you need to do is basically what I'm hearing from spirit. Okay. You know what you need to do. It's so funny. I just created a shorts for that. I wonder if that's for you guys. Let me see. Would you like to read from the book today? Okay, do we want to read from the past life book as well? Are there any pearls in the past life book for them? Okay, so the past life we're good, but we are going to dive into the wishes. Hold on. Love it when I pause and open up to it right away. That's awesome. It was like a second. Okay, wishes come true, travel and wonder. Yeah, so it could even be for some of you, you're not sure where you want to be or what you want to do. So maybe it's not that you want to leave your home, but maybe you just need a break. You know, maybe you need a vacation, a change of scenery, something totally different, something kind of tropical, somewhere outside of your comfort zone. You know, it could even be because I also, when I look at this, it makes me think of like, you know, like the Middle East and like really like foreign, like, you know, Egypt for those of you who are American, or even from the UK, like, you know, maybe you've always wanted to go to Egypt, but you're like, no, I can't, or that's scary. I don't want to go there by myself. It's like, no fear, no fear, no fear. Because I guarantee you, if you go with no fear, you'll be surrounded with light and love and all of the synchronicities. If it's meant to be, you'll know. If everything is meant to be, everything will align perfectly. But if you have to beg, borrow, and steal to get it, it's not time or it's not for you. Okay. So each of these cards represent some type of whether it's an herb or a plant or food, like fruits and stuff. And this one is apple blossom, and it says it is said that assel interesting. It is said that apple blossom heralds the sweet smell of success. On a symbolic level, apple blossom is associated with generosity, gratitude, and giving thanks for all the good things we enjoy in life. In fact, eating green apples conveys energy to the solar plexus. Solar plexus, where did that come from? The chakra responsible for confidence and personal success. Yes, our confidence comes from our solar plexus. So work with your solar plexus. I'm just getting that it's time to really work with your chakras, and you can balance your own chakras. Just meditate on it. You know, I love going to a Reiki practitioner, but I am a Reiki myself, and I will Reiki myself. But I go to a Reiki practitioner to have them do the other things, right? But even if you're not a Reiki or a quote unquote healer, you can still heal yourself. All you have to do is call upon your higher self and call upon the healing energies of the universe and ask them to heal you, whatever's in your greatest and highest good, you know, inside out, your soul, mind, body, whatever you want to say, your words, your languaging, but ask them to step in, pop in, and help you out, okay? Because they will and they can. but work with your solar plexus. And this makes sense with your confidence issues, right? Because if in the past you were, whether this life and or the past lives or just one past life, it can be very traumatizing. I know from personal experience that it can be very traumatizing to be in lack or to feel, to take that big step. I've taken them many times, and I have worked, several jobs, well, not several, but I've worked sometimes 3 to 4 jobs at a time just so that I can do what I want to do. And even if it's like a side hustle here, a side hustle there, whatever, but working my day job, but then taking a part-time job, I've done it many times to get to where I want. If you really want it, you will work hard for it. Some people, it happens overnight, but I have found in my experience that anything that comes too easily, we take for granted. It's the things that we work the hardest for, the things that we wish for when we wish upon a star, you know? And all of those wishes that you had as a child that we spoke about at the beginning, Spirit is saying to you, we can have everything that we want, but we have to let go. The only way for these to manifest into life and into being is by, um, that energy of loving ourselves. Also, isn't that interesting? Well, because this says in the book that eating green apples conveys energy to the solar plexus. So is that because technically the heart chakra is green and the solar plexus is yellow. So that just hit me, and I'm wondering if they're saying like, right, eating green apples. So maybe food, wearing green, so anything green, wearing green, whether it's stones, clothes, accessories, eating more greens, green apples, leafy greens, whatever it is. I'm just hearing to bring that also to your abundance, because I'm feeling like for some of you, you're in this scarce lack mentality from before, and they're like, get out of it. So it says, once upon a time, carrying apple blossoms around in a small pouch was thought to attract true love, and apples are said to be the magical unicorn's favorite fruit. Oh, also, you guys, look at this. It's on page 111. I mean, come on. Talk about wishes coming true and the angels looking out for you. Can you guys see that? I can't tell because the writing's so small. And I'm having issues with my phone, so hold on. There we go. So that's really, really, really powerful. And I don't know if they want me to go any further, but we always have a spell and a divination. So I'm going to put the book here. Also, see how this burned on the bottom? It was in perfect condition when I got it, and I burned it. But you know what? It's okay. Because then I started to realize it's okay to burn things or ruin things, because then once you do, it's flawed, and then you don't have to be concerned about anything happening to it. And you know what happens after that? You don't worry so much about it. And then nothing bad happens. And if it does, you still don't care. Okay, so take a screenshot of this. Symbolism of the card. The priestess of wishes is sitting in cross-legged contentment, enjoying life's bounty. She sits beneath 2 apple boughs that have burst into blossom and is flanked either side by medieval charms for the rapid achievement of wishes. Above her sits a magical city, an exotic destination full of surprise and wonder. The Latin words votum venum, which mean wish potion, are featured. This priestess knows that with a good heart and some determination, wishes really can come true. Because they can, right? You just have to wish them into being. Okay, so divination. This is the Wish Upon a Star card. It is a very positive sign that it is time to make a heartfelt wish, and chances are it's going to come true. The symbol of this card is the apple blossom. Apples have been used in magical spells for centuries. The apple wish spell. It is now your turn to make your wish and see it come to pass using the following spell. Okay, on the next new moon. Okay, you guys, so the next new moon will be in Taurus. I think on the 20th or 21st, somewhere in there, 20th. Okay. So it says, on the next new moon, take an apple and cut it in half. Carefully scoop out some of the flesh from each part of the apple. Write your wish on a small piece of paper. Make it in here. Did I make it worse? Hold on. Write your wish on a small piece of paper and place it inside the apple. Join the apple together with 5 toothpicks to secure your wish. Bury your apple wish in the garden and expect to see positive results by the next full moon. Yes! And also, Spirit said they will send you breadcrumbs if it's, to tell you, yes, you're on the right path, or they will show you like actual, like through, whatever whatever. It could be multiple things, from spirit animals to numbers to readings to people to conversations, whatever. For some of you, this wish is, you're already putting it into being right now, and it is gonna, something's gonna, a part of that wish is gonna happen before you even put it into effect on the full moon. Okay, part of it somehow, some way, I don't know, it's gonna be different for everybody, but for others of you, this wish that you're putting out there, it may not come to fruition until April 15th through May 12th of next year, of 2024. Listen, it goes by really fast, you guys. It goes by really fast. So I just encourage you to take that time to honor yourself and spirit and work on yourself, work on your craft, and patience, right? My mama used to say, don't pray for patience, because God will show you what that means, right? So what kind of scarcity mentality are you putting out there? What's happening with that? On the bottom of this deck, whenever it flips itself up like this, I always have to show it. So the bottom of this deck is shine. And another one that I didn't realize had a timeline until I looked at it. Okay, so we've got shine, time to shine, holly and shine. Also, look at, we got a unicorn over here. Weren't we, here we go. Weren't we talking about a unicorn? Didn't I just say that when I showed you the rose quartz? So work with the unicorn spirit animals as well. And between July 8th and August 4th, for some of you who are putting your new moon intentions out there, between July 8th and August 4th, it will come to fruition. Okay. So it's just going to be different for each of you, but I'm hearing from spirit, yes, like, let that spirit, let that soul shine. And again, they're putting the word over patience because they don't want you to think of it as patience. They want you to, or excuse me, they wanted me to switch them. They want you to think of growth. So if you're watching a reading and like the person's like, oh, spirit wants to teach you patience, and you're seeing patience everywhere, every time you hear patience, they want you to hear growth in your head, because that's really what's happening. Because you're getting your glow up, right? Like, because if you look at this labradorite like this, it's kind of whatever. But boy, you put it in the right lighting, right? We talked about this with your shine. Same thing for this side, right? Look at that. And one side's shiny and one side's raw. And I feel like you guys are like that. And if you're putting, if you're putting your raw emotion out into the world and you don't feel like you're getting anything back, it's like, how can you shine if you're giving too much of yourself to somebody else, right? Like you're over here, like now there's like hardly any light on you because you're over here in the shadow. And spirit's like, no. It's time for you to shine. And you will. And you'll figure it out. One step, one breath, one moment at a time. Wow, this is a long one, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed these messages. Let me see. Do you want me to read anything else from the books before we move forward? Do you want me to read any other books? Oh, wow. This is going really long. Okay. Do you want to read anything from Patience? Do you want to read anything from Patience? Anything from Shine? Okay. Interesting that when I was looking for Shine, success, strength, solitude, they're having me go back. Oh, protection. So all those key words are going to be, ritual. Those are the key words they want you. And it went back to success, okay, which is triumph, achievement, and rewards. You will have this success, but you have to do the work. We spoke about this before. Okay, so shine, confidence, majesty, the limelight. And the representation is holly, the holly tree. The evergreen holly tree has strong associations with the festival of Yule. With its shiny dark green leaves and gleaming red berries, sprigs of holly brought color and joy to the home during the northern hemisphere's dark winter days. The berries of the holly bush are considered poisonous, and yet they were used in medieval times as a robust cure for excess fluid and colic. The spiked and slippery holly leaf lends itself nicely to protection magic and spells that guard against gossip. Yes, and if you're working on something, like, don't watch this reading and go share it with people. Like, I feel like for some of you, this is going to suck, and I'm just going to tell you straight out. There are some of you that have, like, some serious fucking spies in your camp. Whether it's a group of friends or your family, and like there's the one that they're like, oh my God, dude, I don't tell them anything. And maybe they don't mean to, maybe it's not malicious, but like they're with the friends or whatever, and they're like, what'd she say? Well, I don't want to speak. They're like, come on, just tell us what she said. Just tell, and then, they're like, well, she watched this reading. Apparently she thinks she's going to make it by the time, Christmas comes around because they told her Holly, it's like, you know what? Fuck that. That's naysayers and non-believers. And you know what? Those who don't believe in the magic will never find it. Ironically, the person who gave me that plaque is the one person who doesn't believe in it and is miserable the last time I spoke to them. But I remember when they gave it to me, they were in a different place. And it's like, it's so true. Those who don't believe in the magic will never find it. It says the symbolism of this card, the priestess of shine. And also, remember when they were talking about that you are the high priestess and the ace of cups? You are in a new beginning. Listen, from now until this time next year, 2024, the world is going to look so different. We came into new earth in March. So a lot is going to happen. That's why we're seeing how fast things are happening and how fast things are growing and changing, and why spirit wants us to celebrate more of like the pagan and the earthly traditions of like every 6 weeks, the celebration of earth and its on and all of its glory and all of its blessings and what it provides for us and what it gives us. So it says, the priestess of shine is standing beneath a botanical wheel of holly leaves, berries, and flowers. She is clothed in sunshine, the color of late summer, and has associations with the fire festival of Lammas, celebrated between July 8th and August 4th in the Northern Hemisphere. Beside her is the white unicorn, the spirit animal of the holly tree, and one that symbolizes magical possibilities. The divination is the appearance of the shine card acts as a gentle reminder to stop hiding your talents or being modest about the things you do well. The energy of this card is regal and majestic, and when you draw it, you can be assured that it's your time to shine. Sometimes the negative opinions of others can stop us from doing what we truly love, ding ding ding, or being who we truly need to be, right? What's your dream? Everybody's got a dream. What's your dream? Be confident, be brave, right? Work with that solar plexus, step out and put yourself into the limelight. If jealousy from others or thoughts about being the subject of gossip is stopping you, the following holly spell can help put your mind at rest. Holly, an anti-gossip spell. You will need 11 holly leaves, a bowl of water, and salt. Place the salt in the bowl of water and arrange the holly leaves around the outside of the bowl so that the bowl might be the sun and the leaves might be its rays. As you arrange the leaves, say, all gossip and jealousy shall be deflected from me. These holly leaves will bind and seize and break ill will directed at me. The light of the sun fills my life for the good of all, no more strife. Then place the holly leaves in the water and throw the water and leaves in the garden as if you were throwing away any negative feelings towards you. This is powerful, and I highly suggest you guys do this. Do you know, especially if you're really trying to make significant changes in your life? I'm going to bring this back up so we can get some light. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Some of you may know this, but some of you may not. But my husband Alder, I knew when I was done with like a certain life, 11 holly leaves, how perfect, because Alder and I, that's what brought us together, and we got married on 11/11. But anyway, long story short, on a new moon, I wrote down all of the things that I wanted and needed in a partner to help me on my path, to help me grow, etc. And I met Alder 4 days later, but I did the real spell, the ritual. I did it from beginning to end. That's when I started doing this, and like, anyway, my whole body got tingly. My whole body got tingly when I was reading that to you guys. So I feel like some of you really need to do this. It's so simple. 11 holly leaves, and from now until the new moon, you got a little time. So put it out into be like, does anybody have any holly, bushes or whatever? Especially it's springtime, so there's going to be new growth and all that. So anyway, those are your messages. I don't believe we have anything more. This is going on. This is really long. Not that you're not worth it. I just am like, it's so intense. You know what I mean? Like I could feel how much energy. So you guys are dear troopers, and also and congratulations for being here and for making it this far, because it means that you're very serious. You're very serious about your path, your purpose, why you're here. You know that there's something more significant out there for you. And short in that same year that I met my husband, I went through some of the darkest times of my life and was drinking and just drugs. It was bad. I was in a really dark place, but I had to hit rock bottom before I could start to climb again. And now here I am, and literally like 9 days from today, I'll have known my husband 8 years, which is interesting because today's the 8th. And I said, if we make it to 8 years, I'll know that we're meant to be together, for the rest of this walk, until one of us leaves the planet. And, but it took us a long time to get here. It took us 8 years to grow this. And and to metamorphosize into this, and we are still growing and changing. But if you're in a situation or you're around people that refuse to change and refuse to grow, and you're trying so hard to be everything you are, you'll never be what you were meant to be if you stay in their shadow. Step out into the light. Beautiful reading one. You deserve it. It's time for you to shine. Until next time, I wish you so much love, light, peace, and blessings of abundant wishes. Take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh.